Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is your host Carmina, and today we are back with another video diving deep into human design and themes related to human design. And this time we are going to be looking at Victoria and David Beckham's design just by how it came through from the documentary that is on Netflix. And we have, of course, again with us Melissa Muri, who is a human design professional with 7 years of human design under her belt. So, welcome back, Melissa.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It's always fun to dive into something with you and see what we see.
Yes, it's good to nitpick and
Hmm.
see the patterns as our one
Exactly.
lines like to.
That's right.
So I'm gonna share David Beckham's chart. Just 1 second. And I'm also gonna share like how, like why are we doing this? How, for me personally, when I was growing up, I was very young, like from as long as I can remember, I like to watch football games. We call it football in Europe with my grandfather on Sunday. So when I went to visit my grandparents, my grandfather was watching either like Romanian football or international. So I had a favorite team in every league. In the
That's great.
Romanian league, in the English league, in the Italian, Spanish, like these big world teams. And in the English league, I had Manchester United, and it was purely subjective because I thought David Beckham was cute.
Yeah.
And he was also a good player, but he was also very cute, like really standing out.
Yes, of
So
course.
me as like, I don't know, a 10, I was like, yeah, he's cute. And I also liked the Spice Girls until I was about 14, 15. So my favorite Spice Girl was Victoria. So it was the
Ah,
perfect storm. When
that's
they got
great.
together, it's like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was very following this from girly magazines and TV. And I saw how all this unfolded, and I can attest to it with my childhood memories.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I don't have that kind of history, obviously. I grew up football in America is different than football in Europe because we call it soccer, as we all know. And I'm older than you, so I don't have that kind of background, but I definitely remember David coming to the US, and I was again not that I was watching soccer on any routine basis, but yes, good looking man for sure. And then I just started watching the documentary, and I think you and I were talking about it. It's just astounding to me. And looking at his,
Yes, I remember sending you a voice message and saying like, I can't believe he's not a 5'1" when I was watching. I sure thought he would be a 5'1", like getting blamed like that and
yes,
victimized. But then we saw that he's actually a 4'6", but he does have 6'5" lines. So he has a
yeah.
big 5-line presence.
Yes. And you also in your voice message then, said that he's got this six-line body. And as we know, in the first 30 years of life, they're dealing with that with a third line process. So he definitely that those first stages of his life when he, was went to the club. He was only what, 12 or 13 years
Yes, 12,
old.
13.
I mean, crazy. He got basically shipped off to boarding school, except boarding school was the football camp or football team. And yeah, yeah, kind of just spent those years, I think, in that third line process. So yeah, maybe the blame is coming from being a third line.
Yeah, definitely. And Victoria also got her share of the blame. She's also a 1-3, and we'll see that later. So,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
what
Yeah.
I see in his profile that it's very interesting, and before we get more into those 5 lines and those 3 lines, is that he's like a right mind and right brain variable. So he's
Yeah.
very, like, I remember in the documentary in the beginning, he said, when I was coming from school till I was sleeping at night, I was not going out with friends. I was not doing anything, any other hobbies. It was just practicing football in the backyard. So football,
Yeah.
football, football. And that's a very right brain activity. He was just getting in the zone, just losing himself. And I think it was, of course, very much influenced by his father, who was a super fan of Manchester United, and he wanted to push this dream. Of course, his son also had a talent, but you can see it was the father's dream that he was getting for Christmas as a baby every year, as a child, shirts of Manchester United. So that was like his
Yeah.
father's dream. And we will see that throughout his life, he had like very strong personalities in his life steering him through. So, first it was the father, then it was the manager, and then it was his wife. And with his open identity that he has here, I think he needs that guidance and that strong steering.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I thought I've been thinking the last few days in preparation of this recording about that completely open G center. And Ra alluded to this in some ways in design training around these open centers, having learned all the things that there is to learn in previous lifetimes. So it's interesting to me to think about that when it comes to the only center in his design that is completely open. He's got these dangling gates in his head and his ajna. So I think there's something also about for him, from when I watch him, this self-assuredness of really who he is. Like he was conditioned by his father and these other people in his life, and we all are conditioned by all, everything. And so there is that, but also, in that documentary at least, there was just there was an assuredness. By the time he got to the age of the recording of the documentary, he's 47 or 48 years old.
47,
So
yeah.
so I think, he's in this aloof sixth line stage during that recording, and his G center seemed pretty solid to me.
But don't you think it could be the will center that gives him this self-assuredness?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That 2145 is without a doubt for sure. Yes. Um, I also, the other thing about the open G though that I can say is that what happens for me is when I see people with an open G, every single time that I see them, they look different to me. They
Yes, and
physically
David
look
Beckham
different.
too.
And it
Like with his hair, he could go through.
exactly,
He had these deals with all these brands. It
exactly.
reminded me a little bit of Brad Pitt, who's also an open G. And with every
Mm,
girlfriend, it looked like he was matching the girlfriend. If you look
that's true.
at the pictures when he was with Angelina or with Jennifer Aniston or with Juliette
That's
Lewis, or
true.
he was always matching their outfits and their
Yeah,
hair. It was like amazing to see, like what
yeah,
a chameleon. But it's
yeah,
not that they do it on purpose. It just is.
yeah.
I
It's
guess.
true. Yeah. And also in this documentary as well, and we'll look at Victoria's chart
Yeah.
in a minute too, but she does have a defined G and she's got gate 10, which hooks up to his charisma. And I mean, that's also part of what I was just describing.
Yeah. Together
Um,
they were like they were already famous on their own, but together they were like a super power couple.
yes. Power couple, unbelievable. But you're right. I mean, having that 3420 and the 2145, I mean, there is definitely rock solid assuredness in those channels as well. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
And even so, like he still battled with depression at the young age of what was he like 23?
Yeah.
When in 98 there was that famous incident. So before everyone was praising him, he was doing super well for his club team. And then he got picked to play for his national team. And actually, the person who was guiding the team, who was making the selections, was his childhood hero.
Yeah.
So that coach, he was his childhood hero. He really looked up to him, but this coach was always putting him down in interviews. Like his
Mhm.
other coach, his club team coach Alex Ferguson, he didn't talk bad about the players. Like even if there was a bad match, he didn't say anything. But this one, it
Yeah.
looked like he was jealous of him or
Yeah.
something.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
That he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, he cost us for sure. Yeah, it's like he's not focusing. Why would
Yeah.
you do that to your
I
player? You
know.
just put the target on his back.
No kidding. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that uh, was interesting too, though, is how his fourth line personality, comes out because when he got his team, his friends, the correct people around him, they just stuck with him.
Yes,
They
they
were,
were all
they were
supportive.
not throwing him to the
No,
wolves. I mean, they were like, hell no, we are in this together. In the 1949, he's all
yes.
about family. And so this fourth line, this team, this
And his
tribal,
family too wanted to protect him. His mom, his dad,
exactly.
like they were all very protective. Even Victoria, he says, I still could kill those people even now.
Yes,
Like
yes,
the people that were in his community, in his circle, they're very protective around him.
absolutely.
It's very interesting also with the fact that he was so focused on the football, that he's a 4'6", so a transpersonal profile. He was not like seeking friends necessarily, seeking a group. He was just doing his own thing and being aloof like a six line. And then he got really picked by the collective to play a role. He was saying, I know I'm a footballer now, but I can be more than a footballer. And
Yeah.
what happens when I can't play football anymore? I want to think about that too. So,
That's right. And he did that. That really came out to me when I was listening to him talk about that on the documentary, is that 2145 was like he was destined to be what he was being, but then there was always something more. He was willing and set up really to make money, not just during this one little period.
so
Yeah.
the channels show consistency, and especially it's a personality channel. So he was very aware of that. He came out of a working class background. His family, his mom was a hairdresser. His dad also had like a middle working class job. He was used to this work ethic, working hard, getting your money. But because he also had this 45, he also, especially when he was young, he also liked to spend his money very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this 45 also gives like the knack for nice things, I guess, like to collect nice things, not just any watch, not just any car, like an expensive car, an expensive watch. So he had to keep that going. Before David Beckham, the football players were not such rock stars, They were like
Mm,
okay in that field of football, but they didn't get so much attention to get like
right.
contracts with all these like perfumes or sportswear. Now we have a lot of them, a lot of football players that have that, but then it was quite groundbreaking. So he really connected that football world with the pop world. And of
Yeah.
course, being with Victoria also helped bridge that. He was very like pioneering in that, I could say.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. Yeah. Listening to you say all of that too, I was thinking about that 3420 and how it's a channel in his personality nodes. So his charisma, it's line two. He has a very natural way. Like he didn't have to work at this. So that's the other piece of he was just naturally in his environment. He was just charismatic, whether it was on the football field, whether it was
Everywhere.
with Victoria on her
Yes.
stage doing, not that he was on her stage, but I mean, he was with her and the group, it seemed to me, the group of loved him. They
Yes,
took him
they also
in.
wanted
Yeah,
to protect him. Another group that wanted to
absolutely.
protect him.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting that he also says at some point in the first episode that I was attracted to Victoria because she made me feel safe. I
Yeah.
don't know, so
Yeah.
that 1-3 authoritarian.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, and that is, the harmony between the
Yes,
1-3 and the 4-6. I mean, they just came together and
it was a
yeah,
perfect match.
it was perfect. She's also got the 45-21 and
Yes.
what we know about the 4521 is it's not an easy channel.
It's a money channel. It's
Yeah.
everyone is looking at it who gets into human design like, wow, I want to have that.
Yeah.
But it's actually not an easy thing.
I mean, my late husband had the 4521, and I have a personality son of the gate 45s. I'm also a projector, and it was very clear to me that he had a gift of making money. Like it was just like from the very beginning, like I could just see that whatever was going to happen, there was going to be money. And but I also watched him with other people and just watched his the and he was a 2-4. So he still had this fourth line friendship, but not it's just different, I think, when you have a fourth line like with David
Mhm,
and also the 4521, I
mhm.
think that people are it definitely they connect but having that 4521 sets the person apart. It really does. That's all I want to say about that, I guess.
It
Yeah.
does give like the person some air of noblesse or something like that. It's just people look at you like royalty. And even someone commented in the documentary that they were followed around by the paparazzi and by the media, like as if they were Charles and Diana, like the royal
Yeah.
couple. And they both
Yes.
have these 4521, this royal
That's right.
channel. So
That's
it's
right.
very interesting how they describe their relationship and their coverage.
Yeah. I remembered what the other thing I was going to say about his 45. So it is in the fifth line. Like I have a 45 in the fifth line as well. His is in detriment. It's fixed in detriment, which I know this so well. Mine's not fixed, but in the Ravi Ching, it says a sense of right action that assumes a respect that may not as yet have been earned, the drive for leadership that may not have yet earned the right, which
Mm,
is really interesting because in one of those games, they put him as the captain.
yes.
I think it was a like a tournament, right?
Mhm.
And so yeah, they put him as the captain and he struggled. He had challenges along the way there. So yeah, his 4521 is certainly the composite of both of those gates, but
Mhm.
there is a this leadership thing that I think he struggled with.
Yes, even when that famous match between Argentina and England that could have qualified
Oh,
England
that's
further
right.
in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
World Cup,
Yeah.
he also was the one somehow that took the blame for the whole
Yes.
team, although he was not playing by himself there. He fell and then he touched with his foot another person. He got a yellow card, and then because he argued with the referee, he got the red card. And everyone like really came down on him,
Big
like
time.
he devastated England, like he put a nuclear bomb on the country. That's how like they were putting hanged dummies of him, and they
Yes.
were cursing and spitting on him and booing him at every move in his matches. It was really terrifying. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think it has to do also with this fifth line in the 45, like you were not rising up to the occasion. Even though the person that he faulted in that game that he touched, he said, actually, I mimed it. I performed it. It didn't really, it was just a light touch, but I wanted to, I guess, I guess Argentinian players are very opportunistic. Maradona with his hand once, and they
Yeah.
just make the best of the situation. And
Yeah.
even he admitted he didn't deserve a red card then, but for
That's
them it
right.
was very good.
Way too late. Way
Yes,
too late.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And he
Yeah.
was like, what, 23? Like at 20,
23.
what if I think, what was I doing at 23? I didn't know anything about life, about how to react, about what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it was
Crazy.
very harsh, like very harsh, how they came down on him.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And again, when we think about the Venus energy there, that Venus is about values and things. So he really does value leadership, right?
He still thinks about it, like he didn't get over it.
Exactly, exactly. And he valued all of these men and clearly now Victoria as well, but the people who who took the lead with him
Yeah.
on, his dad and the other coaches and stuff. It's just an interesting thing to contemplate in his channel
Yes.
of money.
Another interesting thing is I want to get back on your comment that the 4-6 and the 1-3 are harmonic profiles.
Mm,
So the 4-6 is transpersonal. They're more here for the world. They can seem aloof, in their own world, but they're very good with groups of people, with the right group of people. And Victoria, let's look at her chart also a little bit. She's a 1-3. So a 1-3 is the first profile. She is the foundation profile, and she's the authoritarian. Like the 1-3s are called authoritarian. And it's very
you know.
interesting. I know because I am one. My husband knows. And it's interesting that she is 1-3. And she even says, I was more reserved in school. I was not like super outgoing. And with the girls, I became more like that. But it was very weird for me as a person who did not have many friends. Then I got all of a sudden all that attention and the people chasing me. And so it's very interesting how they got together, these people that were not really super sociable people in groups. Then they got exposed to the big, they were not class clowns or anything like that, seeking attention in that way, but it just came to them.
Yeah.
I see she's also right. So she also, like, she was singing, she was doing her thing, getting in the zone, not really aiming to do that. She just did it. And then I guess the environment, the right people got that talent out of her. And then besides her musical talent, that some people would say, oh, but she was just like, a pop singer, like what? What is that? But she also had like a very good business skill. Like she also has that 45-21, and she knew how to expand her brand, like with beauty products, with fashion line. She just squeezed
Mm.
everything she could out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And she's also a manifesting generator.
Yeah. Yeah. They both, power couple is, it kind of even underestimates what's going on between these two and their charts, the
Yes.
composite. They have a lot of energy, and they're emotionally defined, both of them. Lots of root pressure pushing up there, up to the throat. And you mentioned before too about David and his being depressed, and even Victoria says this in the documentary as well, how depressed he was after that red card, that
Yeah.
part of his life where he was just tormented. Um, we know that individuality brings its own sense of melancholy and the depths of that. And David has a hanging gate 60 out of his root. And see, Victoria has the whole channel. We know that this channel of mutation really sets the tone for the whole chart. And
Yes.
so now when they're together, there's also that kind of dynamic.
But
Um,
she's the one that kind of pushed him into this world in a way. Like you can see, she has the full channel of that transformation. Because she's a 1-3, people also blamed her. Like, why did you tell her you were pregnant the night before?
that's
Why
right.
did you keep
Yes.
him up at night
Yes.
talking to him on the phone? Why
Yes.
did you do
That's
that?
right. I know.
So she couldn't do it right either.
Exactly. Exactly. People forget that they're like in their early 20s, for
Exactly. Like,
crying
what do
out
they
loud.
know? They just talk. They're both right, like just losing themselves in the
Yes.
talking.
It's
Just,
great.
and they're young, and she was excited. She was pregnant. She wanted to tell him. She didn't
Uh,
think, oh my God, now I have to keep my mouth shut because he has a match. Or,
Well, she basically can't keep her mouth shut. I mean, she does have the gate 12, which is a little cautious,
well,
but
he
still
has the
she,
22. So together they have the full channel.
yes. And they're not, she's never been into football. She's been into
Yeah.
David.
Yes.
Like she said that in the documentary, which I love. She said if he was painting the
Yes.
wall, I would watch him paint. I
Yes.
mean, it was just, yeah, it was sweet. I think there's just a sweetness to it.
And I think it was also mentioning that David has that 22 gait. I remember people saying, like fellow football players and coaches saying that he was also an artist there with football. He was just not
Mhm.
like a sterile, cold, calculated. Like what he did was very
Yeah,
unexpected. Like the curveballs he was
yeah,
throwing and how the way he played was very artistic. It was
yeah,
fun to watch. That is also his, I guess, his defined emotional center and his
yeah,
22 gate, maybe.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, what it must be challenging for both of them. I mean, I'm not an emotionally defined person and I'm not a defined ego person. So when you've got that 45-21 ego straight to the throat, and then ideally under ideal circumstances, there should be this waiting process of that emotional wave,
Yeah.
and must be difficult. And he's got the 34-20. That is even like the layers of that sitting over there with that emotional process, unconscious emotional process, waiting to explode.
I see that Victoria has the 18 and
Yeah,
he has the full channel. So I saw in the documentary, he's like, yeah, she doesn't like what I do. She criticizes me, but I think he criticizes himself even more with this
that's
1858.
true. Yeah. Right? Because he's a like extreme perfectionist. I
Yes,
mean, like there was the
OCD level.
oh man, his kitchen looked
Like
like
the
nobody had ever used it
Exactly. Like the wicks of the candles have to be perfectly
every
everything up.
night.
Like, please come to my house and clean.
I know. Every night he was doing that. But again, he has so much energy,
Yes,
just
true. He can't
so
go to
much
sleep until
energy.
he really finishes his energy. And now
Yes.
that, and we have to understand that these people who are professional athletes, it's like they're soldiers. They have to have a level of activity and of discipline that is always, always, always. And then
Yeah.
when you stop with that, what are you going to do?
Yes.
You have to do something to keep that high, that adrenaline going.
Yes, for sure. Because there is a lot of adrenaline. Look at his chart. I mean, he's got three strong channels coming out of that root center.
Yes,
So yeah.
a very rooty person.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Which you can also hear in his languaging about family and just wanting to be. They went to Spain,
Yes.
right? Victoria didn't love at all, apparently. I mean, she was trying to settle in.
Yeah.
Again, the media was blaming her for not,
Yeah, she was calling her like the
yeah,
villain, the witch,
yeah.
like it's her fault that he
Yeah.
now the 1-3 getting the blame.
Yeah, she has a lifetime of bumping around. David just had about, first 30 years.
Yes, for her it's really like, and then they had the affair thing.
Yes, yes.
That can
Yeah,
be challenging. It's understandable one way because I think they didn't have time to have like really much dating and things. They were both very like teenagers in their relationships because they were
yeah,
so consumed by their work and by the public. I guess him with his uh, I don't know, open identity or I don't know
yeah,
what. When you have like a personal assistant that's attractive.
yeah. They didn't go into that in depth in the
But
documentary. I didn't really even know the backstory. You've investigated that a lot more than I have, so
yeah, actually, I'm sure it happened. Of course, it
yeah,
happened, of course. But at the end of the day, they stayed together. They somehow managed to go past that. The public was waiting for them to make like a public announcement or something about it. But Victoria just, I'm sure she just didn't want to because she didn't want that kind of attention and that kind of stigma put
yeah,
on her family forever and
yeah.
ever. So,
Yeah.
no,
But they do have that 1333, which
yes.
is David, he doesn't give off the impression that he likes to spend time alone,
Hmm.
certainly. I think he connected with Victoria so early, and or anyone, but he really is his designed, at least with that 33, to be alone sometimes. And
Hmm.
the universe set it up for him to have those kinds of experiences. And I do think that he probably learned some valuable lessons about
They had
Bart.
a lot of long distance relationship especially
Yeah.
in the beginning. So maybe
Yeah.
that's why it was difficult. In the beginning, they were super in love. They had their time apart, it was all romantic. And then when they had to live together in
Yeah.
Spain, then some problems or, like in any couple come out that you spend time all the time together.
Yeah. Maybe
So
it might be true.
yes,
Yeah.
it's very interesting that the relationship with Alex Ferguson, this was the boss at Manchester United, that he was
Mm.
his boss since he was 12 until like in his 20s. He's a 1-3 manifester. He was the boss of the
Ah,
team. When he came to the team, he made them champions. That year, they hadn't been champions in like 27 years. So he really took this like he was the captain of the ship. Everyone is a soldier, everyone is equal. You can't be more fancy than anyone else. He didn't like that David Beckham was getting so much attention because he
yeah.
thought it was distracting him from his football. And he just cared about David to just give his best as football player. He didn't care like about the other ventures that he had. So it's
Right.
interesting that he was a 1-3, but he didn't get along with Victoria, that was also 1-3. So two authoritarians, and then the
Mhm.
woman eventually won.
Yeah.
So then the relationship broke with Alex Ferguson, the manifester.
Yeah. Well, and look at this is the first time I've seen his chart. Thank you,
41.
521. Channel of struggle. Look at him down there struggling. He's
Yeah.
got this um 36, 35, you know. I've just yeah, that's and the 43, 23. Want just knowing that this is the right way. And he saw a path for David for a
Hmm.
since he was very young, you know,
Yeah.
you're going to do it this way. And yeah, I can see how he would get very angry.
He really kicked him out when he publicly went against him. Like he
Yeah,
could not tolerate
no,
that 1 second.
no,
it was meant to break. Also with the third line, they both have like David has a 6 and Alex has a 3. So they had to break it at some point, I guess.
that's right. Yeah,
I guess David, because he's a manifesting generator, he also needed the guidance from strong personality, like all manifesting generators do, especially with an open G.
yeah, yeah. Did you ever have a chance to get his dad's
I
birth
tried, but it's
information?
not his. I don't see his
Yeah,
data, and I don't see. I couldn't get like a
I
reliable
was just
data
curious.
for him because I
Yeah.
was also curious if he's also a 1-3.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that interesting? That would be.
Yeah,
Huh.
but he somehow harmonized with these people until it was time to move on. So he
Yes,
harmonized with his dad, and then he moved on to
that's
Alex, and
right.
then he moved on to Victoria, which is the
Yeah.
final boss, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Huh. That's really interesting. I'm glad you had Sir Alex's chart. That's cool.
Yes, the poor manifester, he could not compete with a woman. Yes.
Mm.
So, is there anything that you would like to add about Victoria's chart or his chart or their charts together?
I made myself some notes, but I think we've pretty much covered what popped out at me from the very beginning.
They also have the 44-26 together,
Yeah.
selling,
Yeah.
convincing, influencing.
They're a power couple, very powerful. I think they've gotten each other from the very beginning. It was interesting when we were talking about, you know, when they were first meeting and apparently, you know, the Spice Girls came to a match or whatever, and
Hmm.
someone had told David, you know, that the Spice Girls or one of the I can't remember how it all
Yeah,
went
he
down.
said, I remember it. He said, two Spice Girls are here. And he said,
Oh,
which
two of them.
ones?
Yeah.
Because he already had his sacral
He,
response with Victoria. He saw her
I
on
know.
TV and he said, I'm going to marry that one. So
That's
that's a
right.
will. That's a will to the throat.
Unbelievable. Talk about manifesting channel. Like they just, yeah,
And she also
that's the
was
one.
stalking him. So it was a both, they both liked each other from
Oh,
afar.
she was.
Yes, she said
Oh,
she was
wow.
going to matches, like stalking him. She liked him. He was in the papers. He was good
Yeah.
looking. He was young, of course. So
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was this already, like she liked him. She also had her sacral response, I guess, watching him in the
Yeah.
media. And then
Yeah.
when they met, it was like fireworks, I guess.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's so great.
What do you think gets under their skin about each other?
That's a good question. Yeah, I was thinking about this.
Yeah, I think he overthrows her with that 1858,
Yeah.
because he only has the 18.
And he also has that, he's got the 3955. And he was provoking her in the
Yes.
documentary too about
You're
like
not working class. Your dad had a Rolls Royce.
she said she was going to go off to the office or something. I'm
Yes.
going off to the office today or
Yes.
something. And he just kept poking at her and poking at her
Yes.
until she finally said that she was going to get a facial. She wasn't
Yes.
she wasn't actually going to work. She was going to go get a facial.
Yes. So, and he wanted to be, what is this need for correctness or fairness, or where does this come from? My computer is a little slow for some reason. It's not a manifesting generator.
It's still riding out its emotional wave.
Yeah, I guess. So Victoria has a split definition, and David also a split definition. So they're
Yeah.
both good in groups,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, and they
Oh
have
my
all three of
God.
those channels that
Yes.
go up from the root, but they don't compromise each other there at all. So
Yeah.
they definitely have lots of adrenalized power in different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
With
It's
those channels.
amazing.
Yeah.
They have everything between
Yes.
the root, a very consistent, the root and the emotional center. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think maybe the 1222 that they have together, that can also be when you have something magnetic, it can be a little love-hate. Do you think that
Yeah.
can cause some problems?
I mean, yeah, I've shared that channel because I also have the 22, so I've shared that channel before, and I can see how what I experience with gate 12 is that sometimes it is so cautiously not wanting to talk about emotional things.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my experience is. So it doesn't seem to me, I mean, Victoria's a woman, so she probably has emotional intelligence and is able to speak in that way. I just wonder about David and I mean, does it connect? And is there words around their emotional process or?
I think now that he's 47, he's more aware of what was happening and when he was younger, and maybe now he's more ready to talk about it. But when he was younger, I think it was very difficult to process. And it's
Yeah.
another thing that we haven't mentioned, that his motivation is five guilt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was trying to do the best thing for everyone
That's right.
and
Yeah.
with not always succeeding.
No. No.
Yeah, and Victoria has a four motivation, which is very close needs. And they both have a market environment.
That
So,
also fits. Yeah.
yes, it's really a match made in heaven, like really, that they saw each other and they both liked each other even before meeting each other.
Yeah. It's karmically fascinating to consider they just recognized each other without even being in their physical presence. And then
Hmm.
when they were, I think it's like the hand in the glove.
So I think we pretty much covered everything. Did you want to add anything about
I
it?
don't think so. Oh, there is one more thing I was going to mention
Mm-hmm.
because David has a defined spleen.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the 5818 with
Yes.
his defined spleen and then his 50, this gate of like responsibilities, he just lots of family. Like he just really talks about the family. Could be attributed to the fourth line stuff, which we've kind of talked about, just having this community. They are missing, quote unquote, missing the 27 with the taking care of the entire family together. That would be kind of ideal, I guess. Togetherness, like both of them together in that respect. But like here's Victoria taking care of their children, having children, taking care of children by herself a lot of the time.
Yes.
And David's over here the splendidly doing the things that he wants to do that's healthy for him, and and finding joy in that.
Yes, it's interesting. I haven't looked at the children's charts. Maybe there is one that hooks into Victoria's. Maybe one has a
Mm,
27. And it's
maybe.
also, again, the thing that you said that David has a defined spleen, Victoria has an open spleen. Like somehow, even though she was hurt with the cheating scandal, I guess it's comfortable with him. Also because of the spleen, the
Yeah.
defined spleen makes you feel safe and comfortable.
Yes. Yes, for sure. That's true.
So,
Yeah. Like to have that defined spleen around. Yeah. Yeah. That was the last thing that I'd seen earlier that I was going to bring up. So, yeah,
so that was great. Thank you for that. This was a lot of fun. It's fun to geek out on human design.
definitely. Definitely. I loved it. It was great.
Mhm.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate the invitation.
I appreciate you being here with your knowledge and expertise.
Oh, thank you.
So maybe we can do this again sometime.
I have a feeling we'll come up with another juicy,
Topic.
juicy person or couple or something to explore. Yeah.
So I'm gonna put in the YouTube description Melissa's details. Maybe you want a reading from her because she also does readings.
I do, especially I like to do readings, not in the official capacity anymore. What really lights me up is this kind of thing, talking to someone about their chart and what just comes to me after they're sharing their experience, where they are, what's going on for them. I'm an in the now person, so I love to just be able to bring the chart up and hear what the person's experiencing and then talk to them about their chart and what that, where in the chart could explain what they're going through and that they can just then relax and know that everything is perfect, that you're not broken. It's all working out as it should. And there's a mechanical reason behind so many the angst, the troubles, the experiences that we have. I have crisis and conflict in my incarnation cross. So I can relate to to those two things. And so when people are going through something like that and if they needed somebody to just to vent with and please reach out. I would love to have that experience. Yeah.
Now, while you were talking, I was also thinking, David Beckham, is having his Chiron return this year. So I wonder if it's going to be a year of healing for him from that
Mm,
past trauma.
yeah, maybe, hopefully. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you,
Yeah.
Melissa.
Thank you,
And
Carmina.
thank you, everyone, for being with us. And I'll see you again soon with another video. Bye.
Bye.